Imagine this, an ordinary janitor, mopping the marble floors of a corporate skyscraper late at night, suddenly becomes the center of humiliation in front of dozens of executives. What no one knew, not even the powerful CEO standing at the edge of the crowd, was that this man's silent strength would shatter lies, expose a million-dollar crime, and change the fate of an entire company forever. If you stay with me till the end of this story, I promise you'll walk away with a lesson that lingers long after the video stops. And if stories of courage, justice, and unexpected heroes inspire you, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. It helps us share more powerful stories just like this one. It began with David, a quiet single dad working nights as a janitor in one of the city's biggest firms. His life revolved around his 8-year-old daughter, Emma, who waited every morning with her tiny backpack, smiling as he walked her to school before heading home to sleep. For David, every mop stroke, every bucket he carried wasn't just a job, it was survival. He had lost his wife years ago, and Emma was his whole world. The building he cleaned belonged to a global company led by CEO Robert Kane, a man known for his razor-sharp mind and intimidating presence. Few ever saw him after hours, but fate had a different plan one night. It happened during a late board meeting. Executives, assistants, and interns rushed in and out, and David quietly worked in the background. Then, suddenly, alarms rang out. An expensive prototype laptop, locked in the conference room, was gone. Panic spread. That laptop contained confidential financial data worth millions. Security rushed in, but the whispers began almost instantly. One young executive pointed at David, who stood silently near the doorway holding his mop. He was the only one here. Who else could have done it? The executive snapped, and others nodded quickly, eager to shift blame away from themselves. Within minutes, David was surrounded. They called him a thief, a liar, a desperate man trying to feed his child. His face flushed with shame, but he didn't argue. He didn't fight back. He just stood tall, clutching the handle of his mop like an anchor. The CEO himself entered the room. Robert Kane's sharp eyes scanned the scene, the missing laptop, the frantic employees, the janitor standing accused. "Is this true?" he asked coldly. David simply shook his head. "No, sir." His voice was steady, though his heart thundered in his chest. The room erupted with demands to fire him immediately. Some insisted the police should be called. But Robert didn't move. Something about the janitor's quiet defiance unsettled him. He had seen guilty men before, sweating, stammering, shrinking under pressure. But this man, with calloused hands and weary eyes, stood like a mountain refusing to bow. Instead of calling security, Robert made a surprising choice. "No one leaves this room," he ordered. "If a crime happened here, then the truth will be revealed here." His words silenced everyone. One by one, he began questioning employees. David said little, only answering directly when asked. But as others spoke, contradictions started appearing: who was where, who had access, who claimed to have locked the conference room. David, though silent most of the time, quietly observed. He had always been invisible to these people, yet his job gave him eyes everywhere. He knew who lingered late, who slipped in and out of rooms, who avoided certain cameras. Finally, Robert noticed David watching carefully and turned to him. "You've seen more than you admit, haven't you?" David hesitated, then spoke. His voice wasn't loud, but every word carried weight. "The lock on that conference room was already broken yesterday. I told the assistant manager, but no one cared. Tonight, I saw Mr. Collins," he pointed to the young executive who first blamed him, "enter the room long after everyone left. He carried a bag out, but when I offered to help, he yelled at me to mind my business." Gasps filled the room. Collins stammered, tried to deny it, but Robert's sharp gaze caught every flicker of guilt. Security pulled the camera footage, and sure enough, David's quiet testimony was the missing piece. The young executive had staged the theft to cover up a scheme, he had been embezzling company funds for months and planned to destroy the evidence. The crowd that once mocked and accused David now turned their eyes away in shame. His silence hadn't been weakness, it was strength, rooted in dignity and truth. Robert Kane stepped forward, not as a CEO towering over a janitor, but as a man acknowledging another's worth. "You saved this company tonight," Robert said firmly. "And you showed me that sometimes, the truest leaders are the ones who never ask for recognition." Tears welled in David's eyes. He had endured humiliation, accusations, and suspicion, but his daughter would never have to hear that her father was a thief. That meant more than anything. But the story didn't end there. Robert, moved by what he had witnessed, made a decision that shocked everyone. The next week, David was no longer just a janitor. Robert personally offered him a new position, security supervisor, a stable salary, and benefits that would allow Emma the education she deserved. "You've proven your loyalty, your courage, and your integrity," Robert told him. "This company needs people like you." David accepted, not for pride, but for his daughter's future.